Am I the asshole for telling my dad to swallow his fucking pride and go to a food bank? My 17 female mom, 33 female, she had me at 16, left shortly after my little sister, 2, was born. I also have a 5-year-old brother and a 3-year-old sister. We haven't heard from her since. My dad, 34M, owned a small business that went under a few months ago due to the shutdowns and has had trouble finding a job since. Right now he's working 2 minimum wage jobs to try to support us, but that barely covers the mortgage and our car payments. I ended up dropping out of high school so I can take care of my siblings and get a job. I got a great job as a nanny and they're letting me bring my siblings since they're the same age as the kids, 5 male and 3 female. I've been paying for all of our healthcare. I have ulcerative colitis and my brother has type 1 diabetes, so that shit is expensive, my car, and half our food bill and any clothes that my brother and sister need and occasionally some new toys for them. I know for a fact that we qualify for financial aid at the hospital we go to and maybe SNAP benefits or food banks. It would make things so much easier on all of us. My siblings and I don't eat healthy. Most of what we eat are those bulk bags of cereal at the grocery store and dollar store pasta with beans or sometimes eggs or meat. It's gotten to the point where the family I work got started giving us all their leftovers so we can eat somewhat healthy. I talked to my dad about financial aid at the hospital and he actually agreed to it, but when I brought up SNAP benefits or going to food banks he completely shut the idea down. He kept saying he doesn't need help getting us food and he survived without food stamps when he was our age, so we should too. I lost my temper and yelled at him, swallow your fooing pride and go to a food bank because 2 SHT meals a day isn't cutting it. He yelled at me to go to my room and now we're not speaking to each other. Am I the asshole for yelling at him? Edit, I'm not calling CPS on my dad so y'all can stop suggesting that. He's trying his best. Edit, I sent my dad the post. He finally came to his senses, we're going to start applying for benefits tonight. Edit, for those of you asking about my education, I'm planning on getting my GED in May and starting community college in the fall. Not the asshole. Shit ain't normal, and he's under a lot of stress. Likely hates feeling you already had to drop out of school, and that he's not cutting it as a man. But he's gotta get past it, and maybe this was the kick in the ass he needed. Edit, so proud of you and your dad for taking one hard step after another. Glad he decided to accept some help, wish you both the best. Not the asshole, you're right, it's just his stupid pride. You're sacrificing a lot for your family right now before you're even a legal adult, the least you deserve is some decent meals. Not the asshole. The social safety net exists for a reason. Plus, the pandemic is still going on. Things will be different when we are past all this, and he might be able to find what he needs in terms of work. And hopefully you can return to school. You've put your whole future on hold for your family. You're risking more than his pride is worth. Not the asshole. He absolutely needs to suck it up and register for SNAP, Medicaid, and food banks. That diet isn't doing anyone any favors, especially the T1 diabetic. You may be able to call around and go to a food bank yourself, but SNAP and Medicaid are going to need the legal adult to register. Not the asshole. Your dad's business was directly impacted by the pandemic, as many others were. Your dad needs to understand these are benefits he paid into while paying taxes. They exist for times like this and might only even be help he temporarily needs, so he shouldn't let pride starve his kids. He most likely qualifies for medical and food benefits which can help you save money and use it for other needs your family has. Not the asshole. You got to do what you got to do to take care of the family. He should applies for assistance if he qualifies and needs it. If you do as well, why don't you apply? Not the asshole. Dad needs to grow the hell up. When I needed help, 6 or 7 years ago, the entire application process was online and the card came in the mail. I lost not a single smidge of face. I didn't want my community to know I needed the help. I'm a small business owner in a small town. I shopped one town over, fed my kids properly, weathered the storm and moved on. Not too proud to let his daughter work and take care of the family, but too proud to go to the food bank himself. If it was you going to the food bank all of a sudden he would be okay with it, no doubt. Not the asshole. Life has ups and downs and we all go through shit. Pride isn't gonna put food on the table. Not the asshole. Hell, you're pulling his weight. I understand what happened isn't his fault, but he's the father and the adult here. And AT1 kid shouldn't be eating junk. It could literally kill him. Your father needs to get over himself and do what's right for his kids. You will get approved for Medicaid for the whole family as well as SNAP. Post about this on the Medicaid subreddit and they will inform you step by step how to apply. He is not trying his best because he is not accepting food assistance. Not the asshole. This is awful. I'm so sorry you and your family are going through this. TBH, your littlest sibling qualifies for WIC too. IDK if he would be more receptive if you tried having another calmer conversation or not. But you aren't the asshole for wanting to eat. Not the asshole. Your dad has failed you and your siblings and you are goddamn hero for stepping up. Also you're 17 and it sounds like you provide a significant portion of the household income and or childcare so your dad doesn't get to send you to your room anymore. Until he months up and you can finish high school or least get your GED. You and him are now equals. Honestly I would tell him that if he doesn't swallow his pride and get you and your siblings food assistance you'll call CPS on his ass. What your father is doing might even be a crime so you would be 100% justified in reporting him. Tell him that if he has paid taxes and is currently paying taxes, then it is not a handout. Tell him to view it as the government paying him back the money it took. We have had some friends that viewed help as an insult until we phrased it like that. Appeal to the working citizen in him and he might be able to get the help y'all need. Pride is a big issue. If your dad is looking for a job, USPS is always hiring. I volunteer at a food bank and we get so much food and are happy to share it. Today families got 4 bags of vegetables, 2 of fruits, potatoes and sweet potatoes, bread, sweets, and frozen meat. All of this plus canned goods and personal supplies including tampons and diapers if needed. We get USDA food, donations from the community, fresh produce from groceries, etc. This is for the month and gets wasted, especially the produce and bread, if it is not used by people who need it. His pride should not keep you all from being properly fed. Dare to Care started in my city because a young boy starved to death. Everyone should get the food they need. Not the asshole. Sounds like he's part of the generation that views social programs as handouts and doesn't understand that it's actually for people with actual needs like him. There's nothing wrong with asking for a little help, especially during this damn pandemic. Not the asshole, but you're wrong. Your dad is not trying his best. As a parent, he's not doing his job. He isn't providing his children the bare necessities because of his pride and that is not okay. 4 children on a minimum wage job should qualify you for free medical, food, and maybe housing help as well. He absolutely should have exhausted all assistance available before allowing his child to cut their education short. I know it's hard to accept that your parent isn't doing their best, but somebody needs to get through to him that what's going on now is completely unacceptable. These are tough times for many. I don't think these flare-ups make anyone ta. Hope things get better for you all. Nah. Not the asshole. You're all starving, like a lot of people in this country right now. So yeah, he needs to swallow his fucking pride and get some food for all of you. That's his responsibility. Nah, I understand both sides. Food insecurity, which includes poor quality of food, can break a family or it can relieve one source of stress on a family, but asking for help can be hard. I work for SNAP in my state so I definitely know where both of you are coming from. Be patient with him and when you're in a calm mood explain how it will relieve your family and how poor quality food is affecting your family's health. Note that you may also be eligible to Medicaid in your state to help with medical bills. Not sure if it's mentioned by someone else, but your family may also qualify for subsidized childcare so your siblings can go to childcare, you can go back to school and your father can go to work, as well as medical coverage for anyone under the age of 18 in your household. Both of these programs are available through your state's county assistance office. If your family doesn't qualify for medical assistance, the children may qualify for your state's CHIP. CHIP is short for the Children's Health Insurance Program, which provides health insurance to uninsured children and teens who are not eligible for or enrolled in medical assistance. For most families, CHIP is free. Families with incomes above the free CHIP limits will pay low monthly premiums and co-pays for some services. Not the asshole, he needs to get child support though. He survived without food stamps when he was our age, so we should too. Because he had parents to support him, I'm guessing. That's a credit to his parents, not him. Not the asshole. I'm glad your dad saw this post and decided to listen to you. Does your dad know where your mom is? Or is he in contact with family members who know where she is? It may be worth going to court and filing for child support against her. Just because she decided to walk away doesn't absolve her of her responsibilities to you and your siblings. She should be made to pay child support. Also, how are you dealing emotionally with her just leaving? I'm sure it's been a lot for you. Have you gotten any type of therapy? I know right now might not be the best time, or you may even think you're fine, but her leaving has left a lot on shoulders. Eventually it will get to you to where you may become resentful of the whole situation. So please consider therapy. Not the asshole. I hate hearing something like this. We had to go to a food bank for a while about 15 years ago, and it was a lifesaver. I hated the idea of going, but the idea of my kids being hungry hurt more. The fact that he's not doing everything he can to take care of the family is appalling, and he needs to up his game. I get the pride issue, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and it's better to do it now before things get too far out of control and you're working against a deficit. Not the asshole. This isn't a failing of him. It's a failing of the system you live in. You are working a job and raising 2 children. You had to drop out of school. The fact that he sent you to your room is so disrespectful. NTA. The only asshole here is the American government and big businesses that colluded together to fuck over the COVID relief and ability to fight COVID in this country. Clearly your dad was not making a living wage, and it's a tragedy you had to drop out of school to support your family. Stories like this show that the government's response to COVID was a complete failure. I thought food lines were only for Venezuela? Everyone in this wealthy country deserves free education, free healthcare, and freedom from medical debt, and social protection from their government that they pay every day with taxes. I'm sorry you and your dad went through all of this. Hopefully your benefits come through. NTA. Tell him as a tax-paying business owner he paid into these programs for many years, so he should absolutely take the assist. Not the asshole. When you're responsible for children, you can't be proud. I totally agree with you. You kids need that food and money, and you need an education. It should be more shameful to let your kids be hungry and dropping out of school than to be poor. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If those entitlements are available to you, take them. It's your right. Not the asshole. Does your mom pay child support? How is she just not in the picture at all? I'm really glad your dad was able to swallow his pride to actually give you guys proper nutrition, but it should have never gotten to the point where you need to work for your family. If I was you, I'd be pissed at my dad for his pride and livid at my mom for her neglect. I'm glad your dad saw the light. Let me tell you, it happens to people from all walks of life. A lot of people are just one step away from this kind of challenge. I love supporting my local food bank because I can well afford to, and I know what it is like to be hungry and not have money for food. It happens to a lot of people. I'm glad your dad is applying for benefits. This is exactly why they are in place. Best to you. Obligatory. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I think everyone needs to understand that accepting help like this is not problematic. It exists because at any point in anyone's life, things can go to shit. Having infrastructure that provides for people and families when they struggle until they can get back on their feet ultimately benefits our society in the long term. If I am so privileged, I may never need it myself, but I happily pay my taxes so that this safety net for my community exists. Not the asshole. Oh, honey, I so feel for your dad, but you are right. SNAP and food banks exist for this very reason. Tell your dad when things get better for y'all, and they will, he can make it up by contributing to food banks himself. And I hope you will go back to school as soon as you can. In the meantime, much love and best wishes to you and your family. Not the asshole, you're paying for half the food, you have a say in what is purchased. Not the asshole. You can go sign yourself up at the food bank and for SNAP. I'm not sure about the rest of it, but those I know. Not the asshole, but I'd add WIC to your list. And depending on the state you are in and your family income, your family for Medicaid, or at least you and your siblings may qualify for CHIP. But I also acknowledge it may be hard for your father to accept that he needs that kind of help, so, since you've already shown that you are willing to step in and be an adult when needed, you might need to fill out the applications, follow up, all the rigmarole that goes with this stuff, and just have him sign on the dotted line. Not the asshole. People like your dad are who these safety nets are for. I sure hope things start changing soon, so hardworking people like you and your dad can go back to doing more than the barest survival. Not the asshole. Just wanted to also say that nutrition plays a lot in body and brain development, especially for children. My friend grew up in foster care with a poor diet, and physically they're not as tall or built, for lack of a better word, as their half-siblings that weren't placed in foster care. Another thing they realized was how much their diet affected their energy levels and focus. Once they were able to eat healthier, they were able to accomplish more, not just in their studies, but in everyday activities. Good diet and healthy eating is super important. It's why they call the stomach a second brain. Lol. It really does affect things like mood, energy, etc. Not the asshole. Your dad really should be ashamed his daughter dropped out of school before he would ask for help. Not the asshole. But, seriously, how do you make that much as a nanny? Not the asshole, but next time go to the food bank yourself. You have a car. And please schedule your GED test ASAP. Take care of your own future too. Not the asshole. Glad your dad saw reason. FYI, since it sounds like you're in the US, consider Job Corps instead of college to start with its free trade school to get your high school diploma or GED and career training for low-income young people ages 16-24, plus they do job placement once you complete your program. It's residential, but once your dad has SNAP and CCDF coming in, he won't need you for childcare anymore and you can always visit. Nah, I think he just feels like he's failing because he can't provide properly for his children and his pride won't let him ask for help. Try quietly sitting him down and explaining that while you are all being fed, what you are eating is not healthy enough and you need proper nutrition. It would take work, but would you be able to plant a vegetable garden? Seeds are much cheaper and you can get quite a few vegetables even in a small garden. Not the asshole. I had a period of time unemployed. About 18 months. I didn't earn enough to keep the house and keep the family fed. I applied for food stamps. I didn't feel guilty. That's what it's there for, a helping hand. Tell your dad to set his ego aside and get his kids some food. Everyone has said it already, but there's one thing you need to understand. You are an amazing young woman, brave and generous, and your family are lucky as hell to have you. Work around your dad if you need to, but do what you think is best for yourself and your siblings.